Hello ladies, my name is Pinky and I'm quite excited to be sharing again with you, quite privileged actually, just to be sharing with you with what God has been saying and just looking at the story of Mary and Martha, which is, I'm sure everyone who's listening to this, you've heard the story a few times, you've actually listened to a preach about Mary and Martha, or you've read the story yourself somewhere and you actually understand the story inside and out, or you've read it inside and out. And I just wanted to encourage us, by looking at the story in a different way today, if possible, you will indulge me. When we look at the story and we see Martha was so busy, right? She was hosting, she was taking care of food, she was making sure the house is clean and everything. She was the busy, not busy doing nothing. She was busy doing productive things, which you'd find hosting people do. So she was taking care of all those things, and Mary was sitting at Jesus's feet. And not to say that Mary was oblivious and she didn't see what was happening around her, to say Mary was just sitting there just ignoring her sister or pretending that nothing needed to be done. When Martha comes and says, hey, I need help, that kind of thing. And, the answer that Jesus gave is the answer that actually took me aback, because I related so much with Martha. I think I still do in some circumstances where when I look at things, I'm that woman who reacts or who acts or comes out like the Martha, where I'm doing all the work, or I'm the one busy with everything and nobody's helping me and nobody seems to know what is happening here. And we look at the story of what Jesus said to Martha, and Jesus said that Mary has chosen the wiser choice. Mary has chosen well. Mary is actually doing the better option of the two, which is hosting or sitting at my feet. Mary has chosen the wiser choice. And how often in our lives do we actually become the Marthas and not the Mary? We acknowledge that Jesus, you are here. Jesus, you love me. Jesus, you are everything to me. You are good. You are there. When I need you, I know you will provide. I know you will see me through. But how often do we actually be like, yes, I know you exist. I know who you are. But we carry on being busy. We carry on taking care of things. We carry on being the people who are doing things and not actually focusing and surrendering at Jesus' feet. We're not actually the women who sit at his feet and just actually love on Jesus. When we have all our problems and all our things that are happening that are chaotic and the situations that are happening in our lives, we're actually so focused and like, this is what I want to fix, this is what I want to work on, this is what's happening in my life. And everything starts to become about the situation and not actually about Jesus. So we lose sight of Jesus, who you are, and we start focusing on the situations in our lives that are happening. It makes me think of a practical example of something some of us have been guilty of, and I know I have been one of those women who you'd go to church on a Sunday morning and you'd sing that song and you would praise God and be like, Lord, you are enough for me. And you'd start singing of how good God is and the goodness of God and how Jesus completes and loves and fills you. And before you walk out the church doors, you already have all your worries in hand. You already have all the things that you're worried about for the coming week. You're already thinking about all the situations, the possible outcomes that are coming in your week, and you've forgotten what you've just said inside, which is, Lord, you are enough, that I lay everything at your feet, that I don't want to do anything outside of you. And I was just praying, and I just felt God was encouraging me with practically how do we surrender our lives to Jesus? How do we practically surrender our everything to God? How do we go before Jesus' feet and lay it all down? I just felt encouraged by that. The story of Martha and Mary, which I know we've all read so many times. We've read and we've heard so many times in different ways. And I just felt, practically in my life, when things are going so bad or so difficult or so chaotic, which happens quite often, and it's quite hard for me to be so, I'm easily distracted by the things and not focusing on Jesus. And I just felt the Lord was saying to me, especially to me, that it's time to surrender those things to Jesus. It's time to come and sit at my feet. And how we do that is, I know those things are there, but Lord, you are more important. I know that has got to be done, but right now it's not the time. The time is to focus on Jesus and what he has in store for me. So let us be those people who come before God and surrender our everything to Him.